the sunshine of my life. Oh, you are the sunshine. Are the sunshine of my life. Oh, you are the sunshine. Good afternoon. Welcome to Women Everywhere, your story makes of intellectual radio. This is Gigi Carrera. I'm your host, and with
You're tuning in today with Felicity Woodson, and I think I'm gonna put my cool voice on.
I get it. I get it. You have a cool outfit, you have a cool hair, and it's really hot outside. Happy Sunday, everyone. Again, this is Gigi Carrera with Women Everywhere, and we're live here every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. at Intellectual Radio Central Standard Time. And
Yes.
yes, I was not here that last weekend, but Felicity was here. And hello to everyone that's tuning in on our Facebook Live. And we are also on IntellectualRadio.com live there with 64 shows here. So make sure to check it out, IntellectualRadio.com. And Felicity, I wasn't here last weekend, so tell me what happened.
Well, I'll also let you guys know if you were here last week and tuning in with Women Everywhere. You can check out our website at TVRadioWe.com and catch the last show and see what was going on and all the other shows we've done. Just go ahead and have a binge moment of Women Everywhere, so you can find more about us and what's going on. But yeah, last week just real about just wastefulness in general with society, America, and other worlds. Definitely talked about just trash and what things are being dumped, how many things can actually be recycled or become compost, and ways to kind of go about being more resourceful in your resources, not wasting as much stuff. So I'm excited to hear more. DJ has to talk. That's to tie in very well with last week's show.
Yeah, so we're going to continue talking about waste, and this time we're talking about waste in food and how much people actually waste on food, not only in the U.S., but globe, especially in Western country, because we are all aware how much poverty is out there and how scarce in different countries. And we'll talk about how scarce the food is and how much we're wasting and what we can do in our own to actually save it to reduce this waste as well. And other than that, we'll also talk about what's happening with Korea. And I would like to actually join in the conversation through our Facebook page. If you do have any tips,
Ways to stay.
Also, what are you doing right now in Chicago? What's happening in Chicago out there, especially if you're in an event? And also at 630-542-306, phone number right there if you want to join the conversation, 708-223-8953.
And live social forum on. So definitely tons of ways that you can get in contact with us, page, whatever that be. And so if we have time, considering it's so hot out, I would like to talk a little bit about signs of heat stroke and preventing that. Let's go into this wastefulness, because I didn't have enough time to talk about it last week, and I really would have enjoyed to kind of go more into depth with how I feel about the wastefulness of certain things, and food being one. And so let's just go ahead and have this be a part 2 of what we should do to avoid wastefulness.
Yeah, so for me, like, as I'm married, I have a husband, and for the most part, what I really do right now is I go out a lot in restaurants, and I see a lot of families have a refrigerator. I always wonder, like, how much of this food actually or what part of it goes actually to waste. But universally, in a bigger scale, in the U.S. alone, 40% of the food produced in the U.S. is wasted. That's a lot, right?
It actually really doesn't
40%.
surprise me though, just
Mm-hmm.
like watching, people in
Mm-hmm.
general. But
Yeah, and
it's
out of
crazy.
that percent of the food that's wasted, 1 billion of $1 billion is actually spent yearly to dispose of that food waste. That alone is absolutely crazy. Other than the fact that it's the food equals to money, and
Yeah.
then they're also spending $1 billion to dispose of the food. That's absolutely crazy.
So I used to do some serving and hospitality work, and
Mm-hmm.
so being a server and dealing with food,
Mm-hmm.
so many people throw out stuff, and you'd always ask, like, would you like to take that in a box? And it would be maybe even 50% of their food,
Mm-hmm.
and they still didn't take it. And it would go in when I was doing the research on last week's show, it said about 25% of to-go food is like put to waste
Mm-hmm.
or thrown out, whatever the case is.
Absolutely. And well, here's one stick information. You know how people are always thinking about saving money. According to statistics, it's study in 2015 that $2,275 is wasted on food annually by a family of four. So that's like that could have been a savings band to your kids.
Yeah, yeah, and I
That's
thought that was
absolutely
interesting
crazy.
because if you think about it, like if you were actually eating that food or possibly packaging it up and freezing it or whatever the
Hmm.
case, and saving that, not only are you saving yourself money, but you're saving yourself time of having to cook dinner again.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Um, you also have an opportunity to either possibly go out, like you said, a savings bonds. A lot of families either are budgeted with their finances,
Hmm.
where they're so tight where they can't really go out very often as a family and partake in certain events. And if they would just save certain things,
Hmm.
recycle,
Recycle.
would get
Absolutely.
them
Yeah.
money, stuff like that, they could have more opportunity to family time, I think.
Absolutely. So here, let's talk
All this
about
money going in the trash.
yeah.
Like your penny that you drop on the floor and you never pick up. Like,
Yeah, I
why not?
I feel the same way, and if you can imagine, Justin feel the same way as far as food wasting. But let's talk about according to the World Economic Forum, a lot of people are trying to figure out like which part of food production or which part of the food transport, where is the waste coming from. So let's talk about in most countries where it's like the Western countries in UK and in the United States, we already know that 40% of the food that's produced in the USA is wasted. Let's about where are these wastes coming from and how do maybe potentially saving that or reducing the waste. So the first thing is that 40% of the developing countries, a lot of the food goes unsold. So when you go to the groceries, you'll see how big, like let's just say Mariano's or Whole Foods, Jewel. You'll see how much food is actually in the shelf, and the number
Oh
of
yeah.
people at shopping at the same time.
Yep.
There's like 20 pineapple for three people that are actually buying the pineapple. I always wonder, where that come from. But 40% actually is wasted in broker, exporter, any kind of in the retails or in with the consumer. So in between those four different part of the whole the consumer the how the food is being export or all that, the 40% is already wasted on this. So the next thing is the 10%, the managers gluttony to show that they have a lot of food in their stores, which what we were talking about. So
It's a overstock.
overstocking it, and I always notice that when you go to stores, you'd never see an empty shelf. Like, so
No.
they can just keep restacking this
And
food, even the fresh fruits and all
so,
that.
Funny story. So you're gonna get to a point where you're like, gosh, how many jobs has this girl had? You know, you're young, you experience life. But one of my first jobs was working in a grocery store, and it was always so interesting to see how much food is actually on the shelves, what's actually bought daily, what's reshelved. Of course, when they put new stuff on the shelf, they're supposed to take all the stuff that's in the back, push it in front, and all the new stuff goes in the back to kind of replace it. But it was always so interesting when it came to like the produce department and stuff like that, when they get their box, even the same boxes, glass, some things with export would come in, apples would be bruised, so they can't put it on the shelf, and then they're just going in a box and being hopefully becoming compost.
Well, if it's a fresh food, that's really waste already. Like when you can't use it.
Or what about when you grab an apple and you drop it and you just pick it back up and you get a new one because you just dropped it. It's no longer good, right?
Same
aspect.
Yes, and so there's another percentage of that part of the produce or the food that's being manufactured or harvested. 19% of it goes to restaurant waste, supply chain, people's home, where the food is prepared but not served, left to spoil in kitchens or serve excessively in portion, which is a lot of us that are probably watching a show right now. They're thinking, I could do something about, like, I can personally do something about it in order for us not to waste food in our home itself.
And that one point that you have put about the large proportion. It's a big secret on health and weight management is these portion sizes. We are consuming way too much. Is our food down to whatever we're obsessed with clothing. Clothing. We're obsessed with having and having a lot of stuff instead of having what we need, and so definitely. Yeah, that portion size. You get this big old plate and you throw a bunch of food on it, and then you get half.
I remember we did that yesterday. We had a barbecue and we had like 10 corn for 4 people.
Yeah, we had like 10 corn for like 4 people.
So I'm totally guilty of wasting food. I should do something about it to change it. The last thing that I'm going to talk about too is eating a great deal of food more than what your nutritional needs is. So, which is part of what it is, like eating a bigger portion, and some of them you don't even really need, like ice cream.
But that's not funny. It's hot outside. I needed something to cool my core temperature down. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about his stroke. That's a great idea. Yeah.
But the thing but we are, I think, as a society of having supersize me. That supersize me idea. It's like everything has to be big. Everything. Our plate sizes are big. We have a lot of stuff. Everything has to be big.
Which is interesting because when I go to, I've noticed that a lot more in places like American restaurant, or even not even like the Chinese or Thai restaurant. When I go to places like this, because I'm really tiny and I eat so little, and when I go there, it's just like it would require me at least 3 meals to actually eat the whole thing. But when you go to more expensive restaurants where like French or like a bistro, they actually serve you so little, but it looks so pretty. And for me, like, obviously I love the idea of actually like making it look pretty more so than filling the whole plate with
and
the food
I don't
itself.
think a lot of people realize that, like, when you go to fancier restaurants or even restaurants of different culture, the portion size is different. The portion size is actually what you're supposed to be eating as a healthy individual. And so you have a lot of average day people going out to these restaurants to try experience something, and they get there and they don't like the experience because it's not enough food, and they rather go somewhere else and have a larger portion. But in a sense, it's understandable. Some people, they if they go to, say, a regular place like a Chili's or a TGI Fridays or I don't know something like that, and they get a decent portion, most of the time, hopefully somebody's not going to sit there and eat the whole plate. But if they do, okay, that's their prerogative. But then some people have that opportunity to take that food for lunch or dinner for some, husband or wife or kid or something like that. So there's always that aspect of it if you want to look at it, which would still be preventing wastefulness. So
one thing that I really feel I'm really strongly about this with, those all you can eat buffet restaurants where a lot of people go there. Granting that you're really hungry, sure. Sometimes I do go there, but I just watch closely how much plate people actually eat. Like even the expensive one, like Texas de Brazil, like people eat like a bucket of like, food while they're there. And I always, whenever I go to these places, after I eat, I feel so disgusting. Like,
so
I just like
I can't believe I ate all that food.
Yeah, so
and that
sometimes it's a treat, but
sometimes it could be a treat in an aspect of like you have all this variety. That's how I look at it now.
Exactly.
When I was younger or like with my family, it was a different aspect of like this might be the one time we get to go out to dinner. Or for that week. And so we're going to treat ourselves as much as we can. We're going to take advantage over all of this. And also too, there's, like I said, there might be people that generally go out and that one meal they have is going to be that one meal they have for the day. And I don't know if that's due to finances. That could be due to time. A lot, it could be a bunch of different factors, but it's quite intriguing. That's why I think like holidays, these, I don't know, birthdays, events, Thanksgiving. Okay, I love Thanksgiving. It's probably my ultimate favorite holiday.
Is it the turkey that makes you like the Thanksgiving, or what?
I like the family, and I like everything leading up to Thanksgiving. I think we always, as a family, are in the kitchen together, spending 3-4 days preparing everything for our family to come. And so I think that's my favorite part of Thanksgiving. The food is amazing, and a lot of times this food we're not going to eat throughout the year. And I don't know why. Like, why can't we make Thanksgiving food all year round? Like, you know what? I feel like Thanksgiving food today,
for one
so
thing,
I'm just gonna make it.
really long to make the turkey. I heard. I've never made.
You just buy a baby turkey, I guess. You know? Like, and then if you do buy a big turkey, you have to carve it up, chop it up, bag it up. Put it in the freezer. It probably sound like a rap song right now. Well, I'm so serious.
That's funny. Oh, here's some. So if you're like convinced that there's world hunger out there, there's a lot of food wasting that's happening, even in your household, you can actually do something to change that, to actually contribute and help. Hopefully reduce waste. And this is actually an advice from Whole Foods. So I just took this from their website. If you haven't read this, that's awesome. So I'm going to give them to you. So there are 12 ways to minimize food wasting. The first one is obviously portion control.
Yes.
And so you shouldn't be probably eating more than what you should be eating if you're interested in becoming healthier.
And we'll talk briefly, real quick, portion control. A lot of people aren't aware of portion control. Hit up Google myplate.gov. Very informational website on portion control. You have this nice visual plate that's broken up into 4 separate portions with a glass of dairy on the side. Real cool. So check it out if you guys, have a chance and you guys are really curious about portion control.
Okay. And the next thing is leftover luck. So if you guys are, I hate leftover, but I should probably start doing that.
I love leftovers. You know what? There's something about leftovers that's awesome because like you cook it and, of course you eat it. It's warm. It's really hot. And you don't have a chance to really experience the flavors. And then you ever pull out like spaghetti or something and then the next day it tastes so much better it's just better. Like
you just
because it has all the juices and the flavor just soaking.
Next
I love
thing,
leftovers.
that's a good way to reduce waste, obviously, and save money. The next thing is cut your costs in half. So maybe shopping in a less expensive grocery store or
Yes.
something like, or actually you can also do coupons if you
Yes,
really want to cost. Yeah, yeah,
coupons.
definitely. Make a plan. So this is something that's really, for me, it's a bit intensive, to make the plan for the whole week and prepare for your food from Monday to Friday. I guess it works very well if you have children, especially for their lunch or dinner after work and
I always
things.
remember my mom. She'd be like, what do you guys want for dinner?" And
Hmm.
like she would be making her grocery list.
Hmm.
And so every person, there's 5 people in the house, every person would pick one thing that they really wanted for dinner. And so like one day out the week, each
They get to
person
eat.
had that,
Oh, I love
or
that. That's a good
or
tradition.
if it was a bigger meal, it was a little bit more costly,
Hmm.
maybe that each person would get their meal like that week. It was me, the next week it was my brother or whatever.
Hmm.
That was always
I
really cool.
love that. That's a lot of parents
But
should
that's another
start
way to
doing
save
that.
money too. Like if you're making a plan and
Hmm.
then going in shopping for what you need,
Hmm.
you're cutting the cost of
And you don't go
stuff.
there more often. Like you just do it once a week or twice, once every 2 weeks, and then just save you time at the same time. The next thing is first in, first out. So this is really important. This is what you were talking about in a grocery store. So, well, for me, it's like when you have this. I like grapes and cheeses. So that's the first thing that I would go for when I go to grocery. So I just put it in there, but I go to the grocery store again, and then there's still bags of grapes in my fridge or cheeses. So that's how you should do it. Like whatever you first purchase it first, you take care of it, you eat it, and then
And that's another
move on to the
portion of
next one.
making your list. You go in your refrigerator, you look what's there, what you
There
need and
you
what you
go.
don't need,
Hmm.
and that's
Don't buy
save some
something that's in
money.
there.
Don't
Hmm.
buy something that's in there unless you guys know you're going to eat it. Like I'm using this tomorrow
Yeah, exactly.
and I'm going to need it for my next dinner the next 2 days.
And then here's another thing: belly up to the bulk bins. So those I don't know, pastas or rice, whatever you usually use. Go ahead and purchase them, and
Yeah,
make
like
sure that it's
Costco, Sam's
used,
Clubs,
and
all
make
of
sure
that
it's
stuff,
used.
like the
Yeah,
bulks.
and then preserve the bounty. Oh, there you go. So any other like tomatoes or anything that you can purchase in a very when it's in season, then you can
Oh,
preserve it. You can cook it or make jelly out of whatever you have,
people don't know
especially
that they like. I don't think they realize like you can freeze a lot of stuff.
like tomatoes.
Tomatoes, like all that stuff. It's
Hmm.
not going to be
Fresh.
fresh. Like you're not going to freeze a tomato and then pull it out and put it on your salad. I
Hmm.
mean, unless you're making dressing,
Or if you're
but
making
you could make a
pasta.
pasta
Hmm.
with it, saute some vegetables with it, whatever.
Absolutely. The next thing is stack up. Carrot stops the celery. Okay, so I think like okay, stack up, but make sure that you use it for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And if you do stock up, like my stepmom always had like the house was always the pantry, everything is always full.
Hmm.
And every time she goes grocery shopping, it's just like the people at the grocery store. She checks all the cans in
Make
the
sure they're
back,
there.
make sure there's looks around before she goes shopping, and then that way it's put away.
Hmm.
And check your stuff. Like I always remember my grandparents. You go through their stuff and you'd be
They
like,
have multiple of the
you
same thing.
this can has been sitting here for how long?
Oh
Like
my
it's been
God.
2 years
Hmm.
expiration date.
Absolutely.
Like look at your expiration date.
Yeah. The last 11 and the 12 is hit the bar. So if you're not planning on if there's only two of you obviously or three of you in the household, you don't need a bag full of salad because that's going to go bad really quickly before you use it up. And the last one is use it up. So whatever you have, especially those salt or like some of those little ingredients that you put in your while you're cooking, if you're cooking at home,
And
then
like
make sure you use it up before you purchase a new one.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially like stuff that's in the refrigerator, like fresh fruits or vegetables.
Hmm.
Right as it's like I don't know what to do with it. It's gonna go bad. Like I said, a lot of stuff can be frozen.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like if you have a blender or a fruit ninja or something like that, throw it in there and have you a nice cold beverage. Throw some ice in it and
smoothie
a smoothie,
and
or it's healthy. Give you some vitamins, some energy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So those are some of the tips that you can help hopefully reduce the food. And for one thing, what I actually do, if you do have some advice or tips how to save, or how have you been trying to reduce waste in your home, make sure to send us a message or call us at 708 223-8953, and then we'll continue with heat stroke. Talk about heat
After our
stroke.
break.
After our break, we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about heat stroke and what you can do to avoid it. And we'll be right back here at Women Everywhere. Your story matters.
Boy, I've been looking at you for a very long time. And it seems to me that I want you to be mine, oh mine. So won't you come here and let me hold you all through the night, and make sure that this feeling can be oh so right. You are sunshine of my life. Yes, the sunshine of my life. Oh, are the sunshine of my life. Boy, you are the sunshine. Oh, the sunshine of my life. Yes, yes. I've been digging you from day one, and that's no lie. I got the strangest feeling in my heart that you're that guy. Won't you let me take you to a place where you've never been? So I can rock all night, baby, guaranteed to win. You are the sunshine of my life. Yes, you are sunshine. You are the sunshine.
Welcome back to Women Everywhere. Your story matters. There's Felicity Woodson.
Gigi Carrera. And it is a lovely warm day outside today. What's going on with you guys? Let us know. If you are tuning in live with us right now, tell us where you're at. We would like to join you, or maybe we would like to just share where you're at, whatever it is. Just let us know. Tons of different stuff going on, I guess, in the city. Wicker Park Fest was yesterday, and possibly still going on today, I believe. I know that I will be attending event later on today. It's a mansion pool party.
Oh,
so
I didn't get the invitation, but that's okay.
You know what? I got it last minute.
I'm not ready for a pool party.
I got it last minute too. So Delphine Vegas, or it's not necessarily
whoever's organizing that party, I didn't get an invite.
There's definitely Delphine Vegas, aka Doughboy Television, will be doing some filming there for a urban fashion clothing line. So I'll probably check that out. It's a little bit of a drive away, so I'm kind of debating if I'm completely ready, but I think I might just jump in the car. I got my car. Those that and it's fixed.
Oh, thank God! I heard about. I know. Well, tell me about that. That you drove, you biked from one location to another. So this is really related to heat stroke.
Yes. So, those that tuned in and understand and what happened, but I had gotten just a little fender bender, nothing big, but I bumped into a Volvo, and I have a Honda. And if you know anything about cars, Volvos are nice and sturdy, strong. Well, my little ditzy Honda with, my plastic bumper. Definitely my bumper was cracked and my hood was bent up. Their Volvo had a little scuff white mark from my paint. It was so minor. And so I got my stuff fixed. However, my car was in the shop for like a week, and it was one of those things where it was a job that could be done in like 2 days, 3 days, but there was other cars in the shop before mine. So, of course, first come, first serve. And so how are we going to get to work and move around now that we don't have a car? And I do a lot of community health initiatives. So I don't just work in one place. I work in Maywood. I work in Melrose Park. I work in Hillside. I'm always traveling. So needing my car was crucial. And so I had to figure out how I was going to get to work. I used the hitchhiker thumb with a couple of my friends and caught a ride. But there was times where I had to be at work way too early, and I wasn't going to inconvenience somebody and their day. So you man it up and you look for other ways of transportation. First of all, buses, as early as I needed to be at work, the buses didn't run as early or as often as I would have liked. And so I didn't want to spend an hour and a half on a bus, especially considering it takes me about a 15-minute drive from where I was at, maybe 20 minutes to get there. And then on top of that, like, I don't want to wake up extra early
so you can
I can get out and hop on the bus and sit on the bus for an hour and a half. So I decided to ride the bike. From about the borderline of Elmhurst, Hillside, 6 miles, and I rode it to Oak Park in about 35 minutes on a beach cruiser.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't actually that bad. I stay pretty active, and I haven't ridden a bike in a long time, like consistently like that, but it felt really good. I was up at 5:30 more in the morning bike ride, and it was lovely. It wasn't too hot.
As hot as right now.
It wasn't as hot. I had my water. I stay hydrated. I made a stop. I set a goal for myself. Like, sometimes you have to break it down where you're just like, instead of looking at the big perspective or the big picture of all of it, and you just have to say, okay, let's break it down into little pieces in order to be able to mentally or physically handle it. So 6 miles is kind of a lot for not having ridden a bike in a long time. So I said, I'm going to give myself milestones. So I gave myself about 5-6 milestones. And so every time I got to a milestone, it became 4 milestones left, 3 milestones left. So it was like a mental progress.
You broke it down.
And a success. Like every time I got to a milestone, it was like a reward. So I got halfway through and I decided, okay, I'll stop for some water. I'm getting a little thirsty. I had finished my water, but the water wasn't enough. I was still thirsty. So I stopped for some Gatorade. And so, especially with considering the simple fact of the last couple of days of it being really hot, I've just been trying to be really mindful of staying hydrated, keeping water in my bag, coconut water, different forms of beverages that are hydrating. Trying to avoid things like coffee and alcohol. However, I can't avoid coffee. I love coffee. I just had a cup of coffee before I got here. At least I think I'm down to about 1 cup of coffee a day. And it's not bad. And it's not because I'm like, oh my gosh, I need the energy. No, I just really like the taste. However, if you don't know, coffee, tea, alcohol, that stuff is a diuretic. So you use the restroom more often. And a lot of people don't rehydrate themselves. And so I thought we talk about like signs of a heat stroke, like signs of heat exhaustion and stuff like that, and ways to prevent that. And especially considering like days like today, it's hot outside. Like, and it's not like, for me, this is different. Like, I'm from California and it's dry heat. This is a humid, like
Humid.
sticky, and so you're sweating more than maybe you feel like you would normally would. And so it's important that we stay hydrated. I talked a little bit about how much water you should consume. If you go back, go check out our website. You can go back on our videos and hear more about that. But people don't realize heat stroke and heat exhaustion are so, and it can happen to anybody, and the signs you could really miss if you aren't really aware of what those signs are. And so, first and foremost, people say, okay, well, heat exhaustion and heat stroke aren't they the same? Aren't they the same thing? No, they're not. Heat stroke is a lot more severe. And so with heat exhaustion, you're dealing with like fatigue, you're extremely thirsty, maybe you're sweating profusely,
Fainting.
Possible fainting. Just headaches.
I get blurry vision when I feel so much heat.
Blurry vision, cramps, like muscle cramps and stuff like that. With heat stroke, it is more severe. It's gotten to the point where your body is starting to shut down. It doesn't have the proper hydration to keep going, and on top of that, you've sweated, so you sweat so much before coming up to this heat stroke. Like, it's heat exhaustion. During your heat exhaustion, you're sweating profusely, and then at that point, now you've released all somewhat of hydration that you had. Now you're getting to a heat stroke. You're not sweating when you probably should, and it's hot. You could possibly faint, go unconscious, even possibly go into a coma. So if you're experiencing very similar symptoms, it's really important to, one, if you think that it's so bad that you need to call 911, then call 911. The 911, they're going to send the paramedics, and the paramedics going to hook up an IV in order to get that immediate hydration to your body. With heat exhaustion, you can start drinking some water. Water sometimes might not be enough. Maybe some Gatorade or something with some electrolytes. Coconut water is like really good for you in a sense of hydration and helping your, your muscles.
Tastes really good. Yeah.
With cramping and stuff like that. And so these are the things that you should be looking for. And obviously, like, if you've been outside for a while, it's okay to go inside. I know you're outside, you're cooking, you're having a good time. Go inside, cool off for a second, maybe even have a cold ice cream cone, which
I'm planning to get after here.
Something, more something refreshing. Even like fresh cold fruit is another thing. But definitely, keeping, when you get to that like heat stroke moment, it's coming to the point where like you need to be put in a cool environment. There, you possibly might need some cold packs underneath your armpits or behind your neck. Like, these are the things to bring your core temperature down. They say
How about jumping in the pool?
Jumping in the pool is like taking in a shower. Like, for heat exhaustion, taking a shower or something cool water would be good. But once you're getting to that heat stroke, jumping in the pool isn't really going to make too much of a difference. You're needing like maybe some ice underneath your arms, or to cool your core temperature down. And anything over 105 is when you're pushing the risk of running into a heat stroke. And so when you get to that point, like taking off those tight clothes, rehydrating yourself, fan, something that's cool around, but definitely some ways to avoid that, like light clothes, wearing sunscreen to kind of protect some of those yourself from some of those UV rays. Hydration, always good. Water, Gigi is demonstrating that. Outdoor precaution, like a lot of times, especially like for me, coming from California, like I played softball and it's hot in California. And the difference about where I'm coming from is it's dry heat. And so just like out here you have those like weather advisory, and so there gets to a point where sometimes it's really not safe for you to be outside exercising. And most of the time, the people that are running the risk of like heat stroke or heat exhaustion are like youth, kids that are like really little, older adults, individuals taking like medications, substance abuse, stuff like that. That's already altering your physiology. Excuse me. And so that type of stuff is a factor of running a risk of.
And one thing you can do too is if it's really really hot and you need to be somewhere, just go there earlier or even later after the sunset. I think if you have to go to a grocery or run some errands, whatever. So
what's appropriate. Like sometimes like your peak times during the day might be like 12 to 3 p.m. Like depending on where you're at, like what part of the world you're at. And so during your peak hours, maybe try to stay in the cooler areas, stay indoors. Maybe if you are having an outdoor event, cancel it, reschedule it. Like it's not that it's going to be the end of the world. But for an athlete, like I totally understand when like your game is canceled because it's too hot outside. Like you're like, no, like we're going to play. Like who cares how hot it is? We're going to get this win. Like, and it's serious. And so that's why like a lot of athletes like run the risk of like these, this issue is because so determined, I feel like, that they want to play all the time and they push themselves over the limit, maybe not hydrating themselves. Like you should be drinking water between like 10 to 20 minutes while you're actively moving. And so if you're not doing this, that's another risk.
A risk you're taking. But the nice thing about those athletes, or even probably like in some games, they have some professionals like a medic probably there,
like a trainer, athletic trainer that's on staff that brings water and stuff. One last thing, as far as like sometimes you're kind of debating like what is it that your body needs. Like if you're not functioning normal, like you're feeling sick, you have a headache, maybe you're having a bellyache, whatever that is, your body's telling you something. Like just like when
you just have to listen to your body.
You have to listen. Your body. You have to be aware. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of their body.
No, absolutely.
Like even especially women, like down to like certain women times, I don't think are really observant of like what's going on with their body. But your body will tell you what's going on. And so like some types of heat exhaustion, you could be a depletion of water, or it can be a depletion of salt. And so and not like I need to take some table salt and put my finger in and eat it. No.
When you're drinking margarita and
if you get the margarita, like some sort of a source of sodium and not such an extreme form.
Well, now that we're talking about people not listening to what their body is telling them, I started listening to some of these very, very interesting book, which I'm probably going to end up talking about. Next week about the health benefits and some of the they call it like super awesome food that you can eat to start building your brain and actually start becoming smarter, like eating certain type of food and all that. So rebuilding what are the nerve cells in your brain that had been damage over the years by drinking or some kind of alcohol use and all that stuff. Like listening to your body. I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about that next week.
Because
that would be very interesting
topic. Definitely, because I'm dealing with something like a heat stroke or a heat exhaustion. If you're passing out and your body is saying that it needs something, you can possibly have brain damage. You could possibly you could be so dehydrated that your kidneys or something can start or some internal vital organs, they start to shut down and you could need a new one. So listen to your body.
Absolutely. And we'll probably, can we take a short break? And then when we come back, we'll talk about some of the events that I want to give a shout out to.
Definitely.
And some of the people that are doing some fashion shows and pageants. So we'll be right back at Womrn Everywhere, Your Story Matters.
at you for a very long time. And it seems to me that I want you to be mine, oh mine. So won't you come here and let me hold you all through the night? And make sure that this feeling can be oh so right. You are the sunshine of my life. Yes, you are the sunshine. You are the sunshine of my life. Oh, you are the sunshine. You are the sunshine of my life. Boy, you are the sunshine. You are the sunshine of my life. Yes, yes. I've been digging you from day one, and that's no lie. I got the strangest feeling in my heart that you're that guy. Won't you let me take you to a place where you never been, so I can rock you all night, baby. Guaranteed.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl Flojo Fresh again with my smooth voice. Right next to me, I have my girl Gigi Carrera.
Gigi Carrera, and
we're here with the Women Everywhere. I'm gonna do a show like that. If you think I should do a show
next week when I'm not here, you can do that. That's awesome. I would be listening. Actually,
do a show in a different voice. Tell me. I'll be curious.
How many voices can you make?
I don't know. I haven't really counted. It just kind of happens. Just whatever. It just kind of flow. I just go with the flow.
Yeah, awesome. I want to give a shout out to some of the events that we're actually going to be attending in the next couple of weeks. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Miss Beautiful Nurse. They were here last month, I think.
Yes.
They're one of our guests. So the Miss Beautiful Nurse is going to be happening on August 6, 2016 at 5 p.m. at Prairie State College, Barnes and Noble Auditorium. So if you guys are nurse, you want to see a pageant that's specifically dedicated for nurses, this is so fun. I hope you guys will be attending that. If you want to take it, contact Bridget Flowers.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that because, like, my family, I grew up with a family of nurses and, like, healthcare givers. And I like to say I'm in healthcare myself. And so for the women to be your everyday nurse, your everyday woman, your everyday mom, to take the time from work because they put in those long hours to take the time from work and do something for themselves, get dressed up, feel pretty, talk about a platform, talk about a cause that feels important to them, and just feel good with them, their family, with other nurses that it's shared the same experience, and have a good time.
Yeah,
like, that's awesome.
That's what I cannot wait, and I'll be judging the pageant, so I cannot wait to see what they're all about, and how incredibly thankful they are. They're very, very happy to be part of it, and I just cannot wait to talk to them, know more about what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, the next thing I want to talk about is the GG Junior American Dream Collection fashion show that's happening in September 24th. We have such an amazing group of young girls. They're 8 to 13. A lot of them are title holders. A lot of them had been modeling. Some of them danced for the Lovables, the Junior Lovable for the Bulls. So I am so thrilled to have this. The parents are absolutely incredible. Thank you to Derek Lee for actually finding these girls that would be walking for our American Dream Collection back to school fashion show that's going to be in September 24th at Mario Parenti Theater. So I hope you can make it to cover the event to see these little girls.
Yeah.
And my new collection, my first set of fashion show with little kids.
With youth, which is awesome because I feel like you find too many clothes for kids that are like, it's like, this is adult outfit, but just miniaturized. Like, this is not okay.
Yeah, so which we've talked about before, especially when we had Kayla K5's fashion. She's also actually designing and showcasing her design with that same fashion show that I'm in. So, hello, Kayla. She is going to be putting her 6 outfits for that runway. So I'm so excited.
Nice.
She have
That's
her set of
awesome.
models, and my goal with this fashion show is really kind of have the girls be reminded that you girls are wear my outfit and think that you can be in school and you can dream without limits.
Yeah.
It's so you have so much privilege. Like, I grew up in a country like the Philippines, and we don't think about, oh, what am I going to wear tomorrow and all that. We have
Yeah,
school
you have
uniform for
humors.
one thing, but the potentials there are not as big as the girls, that what they can do here. There's so
Yeah.
much more and so much opportunity. So hopefully, when they wear my outfit, they'll remember that, focus on your dreams and just be be
Yeah.
something, be somebody.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, and the last one I want to talk about is me designing for Illinois, the International Miss, that's going to be in September 20, actually September 2 to 7th. That's going to be a fashion show for contestants for International Miss, which is going to be in New York. So I'm so excited. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome.
So
I'm
thank
really
you,
excited.
Clark, for
Yeah, lots
letting
of
me
stuff
have the
going on with the
opportunity.
Gigi brand. So check it out. If you guys want to know, like, there's tons that support women everywhere. First, it starts with one, supporting yourself, but also supporting us. We want to be a part of your movement. We want to know what's going on with you. So get in contact. Check out our website. We have different options for you, and different ways that we can help you, and different ways that we can help each other. And so, like,
Hmm.
right now, Gigi Brand has tons of different things going on. You have magazine coming out, you got a junior collection coming out, you got women's lingerie, you got women's summer wear,
Swimwear.
swimwear, everything you can imagine. So check it out, see what's going on. Check out our personal pages. Like, that's another way that you can support us and Women Everywhere. We do stuff individually. You can follow me and whatever I'm doing, and start as fashion or modeling, tons of different
Hmm.
stuff. Today, like I said, check out doing some media coverage at an event, and
That's gonna be so fun.
I'm
And you
very
can.
interested to see.
Oh well,
I've
I
never
just
been in like an
wanted.
extreme. Like, I've been to a pool party, but when I was like a kid, and there was supervision. Like,
Uh,
so, like, I feel like this is gonna be my first party where I'm looking around and I feel like, am I supposed to be here?
yeah.
Like, nobody tell my mom I'm here, please.
Don't do a
This
live
is gonna be
feed
an
for
adult.
sure.
This is gonna be adult
Oh my gosh, that is
pool
so.
party, and just
This
like,
is the reason no one invited me. I think so. I mean,
you're like wild, like, mom,
I'll be
can you
taking
come pick
videos.
me up, please? She's like, where are you? I don't know. Just come pick me up. No, but it's gonna be
Yeah,
a
it's
great
gonna be
time.
so fun. So we love to get you guys involved with Women Everywhere. So go ahead, check out our Facebook, our website,
Yeah, our website.
tvradiowE.com, and let us know what we can do to help you advertise your business, your events, your
Your
shows,
music.
your music. Absolutely. So we're tuning out, and we'll be back here to next Sunday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. at
Yo,
Intellectual
yeah.
Radio.
Next Sunday, if there's anything that you'd like us to talk about in particular, let us know today, tomorrow. You can email us TV Radio
WE
WE
at gmail.com.
at gmail.com. And so let us know what's going on with you. And if you have anything you'd like to talk about, anything that you've researched, came across, and you want to know how we feel about that, let us know. We'd like to share. Thank you for
We'll see you
tuning
next
in.
week.
Felicity
Bye-bye.
Woodson, Gigi Carrera, Women Everywhere.
Very long time. And it seems to me that I want you to be